Hello and welcome to DartBucket, and in today's video we will learn how you can implement APIs into your Flutter applications using riverpod, right? So first things first, I have a very clean application going on over here. So let me just quickly run the application that we are going to work with. Alright, so we have a very basic application running here. You can look at the main file. We are just returning this home view. Okay, and this has a placeholder. We will replace it with a scaffold here, right? And we can have an app bar that says that can have a title in between. So let's give it a title, say products. Okay, that says it cannot be inside const. Okay, that works. So we have a very basic application up and running here, right? Okay, for today's tutorial we'll be trying to integrate this dummy JSON API that always returns you a list of random products that you can render into your screen, right? Okay, so we'll be hitting a get request to this API. Just copy this and try to hit a request in the browser. All right, so this is the kind of JSON data that we are getting from this API. All right, for hitting API requests or to hit HTTP request, we require this HTTP package, and we can copy this and install it in our pubspec.yaml under dependencies, right? We can paste it, and as we save it, it automatically runs. And just in case if it doesn't, you can come back to the terminal. You can say Flutter pub-get and it will get the dependencies installed, right? Okay, so that's that, right? To implement APIs, we generally have a folder called two folders actually, repositories, just to make API calls, and another folder called controller, where we parse in the data, read the data, convert it into objects to show it into the UI, right? We can go into the repository. We will create a new file, call it product repo, right? Inside of controller, we can have a new file and call it product controller. Right? Okay, so inside of this product repo, what we'll do, we'll have a class, call it product repo, right? And inside of this, we can have a function that says get products, or just say, yeah, get products works, right? Okay, inside of get products, we will perform the HTTP operation to perform the HTTP request to get the data, and inside of the controller, we will try to parse the data or convert that data into Dart object so that we can use it in our application, right? So what we will do is we will import the HTTP package. What you can do is you can just see, go over to this page, copy these lines, and quickly import the package, right? And you can go ahead and read this documentation to be able to hit requests, right? Okay, so next it says we need to have a URL in this form, and then we can hit the request by saying HTTP get in our case, right? Okay, so next what we will do is we'll require a URL. So let's have a URL here, and we are going to use the object of URI and parse the URL because, okay, let's copy it. And guys, make sure you copy until products, because if you copy /1, it is going to return you just a single product, right? Okay, so we have a URI ready, and we can pass this URI into our request, right? All we have to say is http.get, pass in the URL, right? And once we have the data, we can say final response equals this, and have an await so that we can get the object of response. Just in case if you don't have await, you see we have a future of response, but if we await for this line of code to complete, we get the object of response, right? And just to use await inside of a function, we need to mark it asynchronous, and we mark it asynchronous by doing so, right? And we can log our data. We can say response dot body just to make sure we are getting some data, right? Okay, that works. So next what we'll do is we'll need to verify whether our function is working. So let's get into home, although this is something that should never ever be done, but just for the purpose of experiment we can definitely do this. So we can say product repo dot get products, right? So we just, what we did is we made we initialized the we initiated the object of product repo, and then we called get products on this object, right? So technically this should work, and let us look at our logs, the debug console. Let us quickly rerun the application. Okay, so we are getting some data from the HTTP request, right? So cool, right? We can now remove this and we can work on our controller, right? We'll go back to our product controller. We'll say class product controller. Okay, and then we need to have access to our repository because we will be making requests through our product repository. So we can say final product repo, and we can make the object of product repository, right? And we can have a function that says get data, or let's say get products. That would make more sense, right? And once again, this is going to be an asynchronous function because we definitely are going to use await inside of this function. You'll say product repo dot get products, right? And what we can do is we can say final response goes await this, but response would be dynamic because definitely we are not returning anything, everything that's going to be is on its own, and we are not returning anything right here right now. Okay, so let's return something. Let's return the response itself. So I can say return response, and we need to give this function a signature. So let's say future of response. Okay, all right, we are getting this squiggly line here because we are importing HTTP as HTTP, so we have to use it like so. We will say http.response and it works, right? Okay, we'll come back here to our controller, and we see the type of response on our response variable, right? Okay, now since we have response in our product controller, all we have to do is we need to extract the information from here, right? To do that, we will use JSON decode that is baked into Flutter itself. So we can say final data and say response, not response, we can say JSON decode response dot body, right? So that everything is converted into JSON, and the JSON can be passed into the Dart objects, right? And we need to have a product model here. So we'll create a new folder, call it models, and we'll create a new file here, and we're gonna have products.dart. Let's call it product.dart, right? And inside of product.dart we are supposed to make our product model, right? Okay, so that's that, right? Now what? Either you can code the whole product model on yourself, or you can go to quicktype.io and use it to build your own product, right? Okay, so how do we get this JSON response? To generate the product, to generate the class for your required JSON, you first require the JSON. So definitely we can go out here. This is the object that we are going to get. So let's copy this code. Yeah, so we have copied this, we can paste it inside of this, and we can name our class product, right? and then make sure to select Dart inside of the language picker. And what else we can make sure? Okay, just make sure you have all those properties similar to mine. Now you can copy the code, come back here and replace it with this. All right, so we have our product class ready. All you have to take care is of this function from JSON. That's what we're going to use anyway. So whatever we get from the server in the form of JSON, we'll pass it inside this and get product objects that are directly in Dart, right? Okay, that's that. So what's next? We can have an empty list. So we'll say list of type product, right? Just for clarity, let's do this list of products, and let's make it an empty list. What I can do is I can add anything to products. I can add an integer, I can maybe add a string, right? I can add anything to the products and it will work, right? But what we want to do is we want to ensure that only the objects of type product can exist in the list, right? So we will say product inside angular brackets and make sure we import the class, right? Now it gives us an error and it says the argument type string can be assigned to the parameter type product, right? So we have ensured it's of type product. Okay, good. Now all we have to do is we need to populate the products, right? Let's quickly go back to the to our response and have a look at it, right? Okay, so if we look closely, hold on, let me zoom it for you. Okay, so if we look closely, we are getting all the data on the products key. Okay, and JSON works in the key pair format. For instance, if this is some key, this is going to be value, right? And if you call the key, you can get the value out of it. Okay, that's how JSON really works, right? So we know that all the products are on the key product. So what we will do is we'll say final products JSON, and we'll say data, and just to be double sure, we will copy this because my spellings go wrong pretty often. Okay, that's that. So now we are getting the products JSON out of it. All we have to do is we have to run a for loop just to enter all that data. So let's say dynamic product JSON in products JSON. Just be careful, it's singular, it's without an S, and this has an S, and this is the product JSON, right? Okay, and what we have to do is we'll say product dot from JSON and we'll pass in our product JSON, right? This is a product object, and finally it can be added to the product list. So we can do the same thing in the same line, products dot add, and we can do it like so, right? And finally what we can do is we can return our all our products list, right? And inside of here as well, we can make sure to give a signature type. So it's a type of future of type list of products. Okay, there we go. So it returns us a type of list of products. That's that. Now we can come back to our home page, and inside of here we need to access that data, right? So we'll say body, and we are going to use a future builder here, right? And inside of this we need to pass in a future. So future is of type products controller dot get products, right? That's how you get products. And next we'd like to have a builder. We can have a builder like so, and we can return let's return a container for now, just so that we are having something. Okay, that's that. And inside of this builder, what we can return maybe, okay, let's stick to a container first, right? And check the console. Okay, we are getting the list of products once again. Cool. All we have to do is we need to work with this data now, right? Okay, so this snapshot gives us access to the data, right? To get access to the data, all you have to say snapshot dot data, and it gives us the access to data that comes from this future call we made. So you can hover over it to verify, yes, it is of type list of products, but wait, it can be null as well, right? And in case if it is null, so we can say if snapshot dot data equals null, we can return center child, and we can say circular progress indicator. That's something we can do. And yeah, we can mark it constant as well. Okay, and if it is not null, if it has some data, we are sending this container for now. Let's run this. Okay, so we see the progress indicator for a while. We can verify this once again. We see the progress indicator, and once we have data, it is logged to the console. Okay, so it's working. So far so good. Now instead of this container, we will have to return a list, just so that we can render all our products. So we'll say list view dot builder, and inside of this it's going to be, and before we build that, we can have final products and say snapshot dot data. And since we have already done the verification whether if it is null, so we are super sure that it is going to be not null. Okay, so that's why we put this exclamation sign, so that we get just the list products, not the nullable list products. Okay, so that's that. Now we are going to have item count and set it to products dot length. We can call length on lists, right? And then we can have an item builder. Instead of an item builder can return us something. Let's return a text for now, and this text is going to have products index dot, let's say let's have title for now and save it. Okay, let us see if there are any errors in the console. All right, let's quickly reload this. All right, we are not returning it, that's why we are not seeing anything. Okay, what we have to do is we have to return this as well. We can save it, and we see a list of products here. Okay, what we can do is we can work on the beautification of this thing. We can return a container and have few more things. Have a child, we can have a column inside it. Let's have children, we can paste it like so. Products index dot title, right? And we can also have something for the description as well, right? And we can have padding, okay, just so that it looks nice. Okay, so now we have this beautiful UI, and let's make the title a little bigger. Okay, so we have increased the font size, and you see how you can show these items on your Flutter applications. So this is how you integrate API the most basic way into your Flutter apps, right? And in the next tutorial, we'll learn how you can wrap everything with riverpod and maximize the performance. So if you like this video, do subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow. Do like this video and share it with your friends. This is DartBucket signing off.